This is the Harry Loomis Show. Welcome back to the Harry Loomis Show on November 3rd, 2024. We just finished up what was a crazy Xfinity 500 at Martinsville Speedway, setting the championship for the NASCAR Cup Series in the 2024 season. And it would not be a NASCAR crucial playoff moment without quite a bit of controversy. Maybe the most controversial finish I've ever seen. None of it was up front. Ryan Blaney, for the second year in a row with a walk-off win, passes Chase Elliott with 15 laps to go and drives away to what ended up being a pretty easy win. He won by almost 2.6 seconds, so he is in the championship for the second year in a row. Remember last year he won Martinsville and finished second at Phoenix behind Ross Chastain to win the championship. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about Ryan Blaney with a fantastic drive with a clutch walk-off win for the second in a row. No one's talking about Kyle Larson, the best driver all year long, getting knocked out in the round of 8, not even having a chance to compete for the championship. Everyone is talking about what happened between William Byron and Christopher Bell. Emphasis on around William Byron and Christopher Bell. So much blatant race manipulation that NASCAR has been trying to get rid of came in full effect, and it is NASCAR's fault entirely. I'm just going to say it. This is 100% on NASCAR. This is the product they asked for. They got exactly what they were looking for, whether they realize it or not. What happened? Let's break it down. So late in the race, William Byron had been running fourth and was about 3 points to the good on Christopher Bell in points as the last tiebreaker. Kyle Larson was leading the race, but he wasn't going to get there in points. Chase Elliott ended up taking the lead from Larson. Same thing. Larson was far behind. Elliott was then the third driver in on a win. Point situation still applies with Bell and Byron. That didn't change either when Ryan Blaney took the win. They were all behind those two. Those were the only two drivers that could have pointed their way in as the fourth guy based on the situation. Bell was running 19th. Was the last car on the lead lap. Bubba Wallace had gotten lapped on the final run. Bell was not going to catch him. So his only opportunity was for Byron to drop a couple spots with about 20 laps to go. Bell got passed by Austin Cindric for fourth, Denny Hamlin for fifth relatively easily. And it looked like Austin Dillon was right there to pass William Byron for the sixth spot, which would have put them in a tiebreaker, the tiebreaker going to Christopher Bell based on a second place finish at Vegas. What happened? Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain start racing each other. They're both Chevy drivers. William Byron drives a Chevy. They are not going to pass their one possible chance at a championship four driver. No other Chevys are making the championship four. William Byron's the only chance. Whether they know that or not, Austin Dillon sure as hell knew it. Ross Chastain didn't sound like he knew it. You can hear the radio conversations. They were not going to pass William Byron. Now, that is race manipulation. Whether, logically speaking, maybe they shouldn't pass them. Maybe Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain shouldn't pass William Byron, Chevy team orders and everything like that. I understand. And in a vacuum, yes. But there is a precedent for this because Cole Custer did the same thing to help Chase Briscoe at the Roval 2022 and got the book thrown at him. $100,000, I believe, is a penalty. I think 50 points. Crew chief, I think, even got suspended for this exact thing. They were caught on the radio. You could tell it looking at the replay. Custer slides up. Same thing happened. They blatantly tried not to pass William Byron. There was a 100% rule, and they broke it. At the same time, knowing that that was Bell's only chance and he wasn't going to make it in, Bubba Wallace, who was the first car lap down, about a half lap in front of Christopher Bell, he starts slowing up. He says on the radio he has a tire going down. In his post-race interviews, he said something broke, something like that, blah, blah, blah. He slowed up, okay? He slowed up. Race manipulation the same way. But what Christopher Bell does, he floors it into turn 3, gets sideways getting around Bubba, is already past him, then goes up the wall and floors it, basically does a half Hail Melon, or I don't know if we're going to call that now, but does a half Hail Melon, gets around Bubba, and gets the tiebreaker. So at the moment, it looks like Bell's going to Phoenix. It took about 30 minutes for NASCAR to break all that down, try to figure out what the hell was going on, and I don't blame them for taking as long as they did, and they ultimately decided that because the Hail Melon move is illegal now because of Ross Chastain, that's what they ruled. They ruled that Christopher Bell committed a safety violation. He got docked time, and it moved him back from, I believe, 18th place back to 22nd, the last car one lap down. And because of that, William Byron is back in the championship four. Now, did they get the call right? I have no idea. The reason being, we've seen race manipulation before. I just mentioned 2022. You could even argue Austin Dillon at Richmond this year. Richmond 2013 with Spingate. There are clear examples of race manipulation, but nothing comes close to what we saw tonight between Chevy and Toyota, at least that I can remember. Ford had an awesome day. I mean, not only is Ford watching Chevy and Toyota fans just go back and forth, doing these mental gymnastics, trying to justify why their driver should be in over the other one. Ford had a great day. Brad Keselowski led the most laps. Ryan Blaney won the race. He's in the championship four with Joey Logano. They got 50% of the championship four drivers. Each of the other two manufacturers only have one representative. But I really have no idea what NASCAR should have done with that. Should they have said the penalties offset like football? There's a penalty on the offense, penalty on the defense, because both teams did something wrong. There was race manipulation on both sides. So should they have just offset and given Bell the spot? Should they have said neither of them get in? Does Larson get in as a result, being the sixth place guy? Do they only have three drivers in the championship? This is literally unprecedented. I have no clue what they should have done, but all I know is that this is what this format asks for. All the rules that are set up in place. We had a phenomenal race today, bordering on an all-time great playoff race. Everything about that race was so good. You were able to pass, finally. We've been talking about that on short tracks, especially in Martinsville with his new car. You were able to pass. The tires, Goodyear did an awesome job with them. And all people are going to remember, maybe they're going to remember the rogue wheel before the final restart where they restarted it, even though it was clearly there was a tire out. They still ran the restart. Drivers lost spots because of that. They might remember that, and they're surely going to remember this finish for all the wrong reasons. Now, here's the thing: the three biggest offenses in this are Austin Dillon and Ross Chastain blatantly trying not to pass him. Austin Dillon is more blatant than Ross Chastain, but they were both doing the same thing. Let's be completely honest. And Bubba Wallace deliberately slowing up the track and giving Bell the spot. Bell and Byron are probably the least guilty parties in this entire situation. And they're the ones that are under this microscope. Bell especially getting knocked out of the championship four now. Whatever. But is there going to be a penalty for those three drivers, and what does it look like? In my opinion, it should be the same as Cole Custer in 2022. $100,000 fines to the one team, the three team, and the 23 team. 50 driver and owner points. Maybe suspend their crew chief for Phoenix. Maybe. Does the punishment fit the crime, though? You might have an opinion. In my opinion, absolutely not. This race is so messy, and it did not need to be. Everything about it. This race itself was phenomenal. But because of this playoff format, which, by the way, only happened because Alex Bowman failed post-race inspection at the Roval. If he doesn't fail post-race inspection, Joey Logano does not get in. And if Joey Logano does not get in, he probably doesn't try that strategy at Vegas that ended up winning in the race. We probably end up seeing Christopher Bell win the race. He's in the championship four. Who knows how this race would end up. But it's a weird butterfly effect. But I cannot stress this enough. Is this the way you want your championship to be decided? You're going to have ugly moments. You're going to have controversial moments and everything like that in any playoff run. It doesn't even matter the sport. NASCAR is no stranger. I mean, Chandler Smith kind of smacked Cole Custer in the face on Saturday. Taylor Gray's calling revenge on Christian Eckes Friday night. We see moments like that. This, you cannot allow to happen. NASCAR is completely out of control in these situations, and they are being put in impossible situations. How are you supposed to make the right call there? What is the right call there? I know what the call is. I don't know what the right call is. I can't tell if they got it right or not. This is so out of left field. So many things had to have happened for this race to play out like this. And look, I understand people like this format. It's entertaining. I'll give it that. It's chaotic. It's wild. But can you allow this to happen continuously? Now that teams know that these loopholes exist, I mean, every team is going to try to get an advantage. And who knows if you're in the similar situation in 2025, who knows how chaotic it gets? It's just going to continue and continue to evolve unless NASCAR makes some massive changes. You've already had some bad moments this year with Austin Dillon and Richmond in particular. And you've also got a guy in the championship for just to really turn the knife, because I know people don't like regular season stats. I think it's just fun to look at. Take a look at this. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell are not in the championship four. They're the top three drivers in non-playoff standings after this race, according to Racing Reference. And let's look for the championship drivers. William Byron's in fourth. That's pretty good. Tyler Reddick fifth. Ryan Blaney sixth. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then we got to go all the way down to Joey Logano in 14th. That's the other guy that races for a freaking championship on Sunday. You might notice there's three drivers: Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain. They're right ahead of him. They didn't even make the playoffs this year. We got a couple first round exits in there. You got Alex Bowman, who, by the way, would have been in this round and put up a pretty good fight, wouldn't have gotten in, but he failed post race inspection. All those guys are doing better this season than the guy that has a chance at the championship this year, even though they race against him every single week. So take of that what you will. I've made my opinions on the playoff format perfectly clear. I'm not going to reiterate them again. But today was a rough look. And, you know, I was expecting to come into this video saying that I don't think this is over. I think this is going to continue to evolve. I think Gibbs is going to have more to say. But according to Kelly Crandall, Joe Gibbs Racing was in the NASCAR hauler for almost 15 minutes, and Joe Gibbs said they were told they cannot protest the safety violation called on Bell. And what I hate about this too is, look, is NASCAR put in an impossible situation? Yes, but you know you're going to get the people. I already talked about the Chevy and Toyota fans talking about the mental gymnastics and everything like that. There's already a large sect out there that's talking about Hendrick bias, that's talking about Chevy bias. I hate it. I think it's ridiculous. But when moments like this happen, what do you expect people to do? You know what I mean? The situation just sucks entirely. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what to even look. I'm at a loss for words. I'm entirely at a loss for words on this race today. The championship race is gonna be run at Phoenix, whether I have the words to say or not. It's going to be one of Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, or now William Byron competing for a championship. And NASCAR's put them in a 50-50 spot. If Tyler Reddick or Ryan Blaney wins a championship, most people aren't really going to say anything because there's really no controversy with them. They won their races. They were pretty good all year long. They both be deserving champions. Blaney this year far more deserving than last year, in my opinion. But if Joey Logano wins it, if William Byron wins it, if Christopher Bell wins the race, a race that he won in the spring, NASCAR is setting themselves up for a rough weekend in terms of PR, a rough offseason, a lot of questions they're going to have to answer from fans that are going to feel entitled to answers. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. Media members are going to have questions about it. They're going to have to wear this one for a long time at the end of the day, regardless of what happens. But that's what this format asks for. At the end of the day, everything that you saw today was a product of the format, both good and really, really, really bad and messy. So I don't know what to think. I'll have a video out later on this week previewing all four championship all three championship fours, and I'll make picks for the weekend. I gotta say, I'm excited to see a champion crowned. I hope it's someone deserving, but some of these races like this have kind of taken the wind out of my sails in terms of my excitement level for championship weekend. It's, this is still my sport. I love the sport to death, but it's getting really tiring and really frustrating to try to analyze all these situations that are pretty much impossible to break down and get everything right. I guarantee you I'm missing things about this race, about this finish. it's getting ridiculous, and it's a good thing that we only have one race left this season, because who knows what else could happen in 2024. We've had some great races. We've had some great moments. Homestead, I didn't even do a video on that race. Unbelievable. Tyler Reddick ran the best lap I think I've ever seen anyone run in the Cup Series. Kansas, I was at that race. Incredible. Atlanta in the spring, phenomenal. Bristol in the spring, really, really good as well. Watkins Glen was a lot of fun. But NASCAR can't get out of their own way sometimes, and sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it's situations that they inadvertently create that cause issues like this. What are you going to do? But that's going to be it for this video. I don't know where NASCAR goes from here. It's going to be a really interesting week to see everything that happens, everything that comes out of this. But I want to thank you guys once again for watching. Stay tuned, and we'll break down the championship picks later on this week on the Harry Loomis Show. Talk to you again soon. This is the Harry Loomis Show.